Hello everyone, welcome. It's Ryan here from the London Craftsman channel. How are you keeping? Today's video is a time lapse of fitting two Alcove units, modern style, so square edge, ledge, square trims and square helmet and plinth. It's got shaker style doors and we are in St Albans on this one. We've left at 7:30 to get to the job at 8 o'clock. It's a pretty full-on job because the room is so small. It's raining outside, so we need to cut our trims inside. I'm going to be talking through the whole video, explaining bits and pieces that we are doing. So yeah, enjoy the time lapse. If you like it, like, subscribe, leave a comment, enjoy the video. So we're taking the door off just to give us a little bit more space because it's getting in the way. And what Sean is starting to do is assemble all the carcasses. I'm working out the spacings at the moment, just double checking that I've got all my measurements right and everything's been made to the correct sizes. I'm also working out gaps, so trim sizes. We are aiming to get the upper unit and the lower unit lined up, so the trim sizes are similar, at least similar, if not exactly the same. Yeah, so there was a little bit of umming and ahhing. You can see me measuring. I was just a bit worried that the upper trims weren't wide enough. We had upper trims of 80mm only width, and we had voids of about 150mm in total. So yeah, the top trims for the upper trims just about fitted in the end. So I was a little bit worried, hence the reason we were a little bit slow on this one. So there we go. I'm just placing in the unit and basically wanted to know where my trim goes up against the chimney before I then work out the cutout for that socket where I am in the bottom right. That way, I didn't want to cut the socket until I knew the exact positioning of this unit. Can you see at the back of that unit now, we put little tabs. Can you see the tabs on the right hand lower unit? And yeah, so those tabs are, so the upper unit backing slips into that. And holds it in, so it's like a dry fit. We don't need to put screws into the back of this upper backing. Otherwise we'd have to screw the two units together and then put them in together at the same time. So yeah, the bearer's going in. I've already done one side, I'm on the other side, working out spacings again. Sean is cracking on with the upper units, and as you can see, the upper units, the backings are in two pieces, and we've just made sure that that backing joint is on the shelf halfway. These shelves are 25mm thick, so we were able to get a decent fixing, a decent joint on that shelf and not see a joint. We would never ever show a joint on any of our work. No matter what we do, we'll figure out a way to get the joints covered so it looks like one solid backing. Can you see on the left again, we've got tabs. I'm going to slow this down. So I'll describe to you how these little tabs work. So when the ledge goes in, which is the top of the lower carcass, the ledge I call it, we make it stop in line with the back of the carcass. So it doesn't go all the way to the tabs. There's a 6mm gap, the thickness of that backing, okay? So the ledge goes in and that leaves a 6mm void between the tabs and the ledge. So the upper units have been designed so the backing sails past 18mm, which is the thickness of the ledge. So when it slips in place, then it's wedged in between the tabs and the ledge. Make sense? This job was quite tricky because the light was disappearing fast at about midday. We had no space, it was raining outside, we had lots of tools. We had to bring our bench in and set it up to do all our cuts, and we had, I think it worked out to be 14 trims and ledges to scribe and get in place, okay, to fit this. So there's quite a lot of scribing to do. So the lower units have gone in and screwed down. Sean is now working on the skirtings, cutting them to length and width, whilst I crack on with that ledge. Can you see I'm just working out my distances? Yeah, so once I got that ledge screwed down, remember I left a 6mm gap in between the spacers and the ledge. I used 6mm spacers in between to give me the space. So once the upper unit goes in, or we try to place it in, it slots nice and tight, or the backing does, in that slot, holding the backing in place. So Sean's cracking on now, getting those plinths in. Can you see the plinths are now in? The carcasses got made quite a while back, and yeah, so we were able to get that unit in place and just make sure we got the same voids left and right before we then commit to get that fixed. We ended up fixing into the picture rail at the top on this job. We were going to use brackets at the top, but the picture rail was just very handy to have there. It was nice and solid and gave us a nice fixing. To fix the upper unit sides at the bottom to the lower carcass or to the ledge, we used L brackets in those voids. So we've got two fixings now. We've got one either side at the bottom and one either side at the top, and that is absolutely plenty. So when we come to get the top trims done, they are going to be glued directly on the front of the units at the top. So we had to use the multi-tool and cut out the picture rails at the top to allow for an 18mm trim to go in. So by the time everything's in and in place, it's really sturdy. 4 fixings is more than enough, especially with the backing screwed from the back and fixed shelvings or fixed shelves screwed from the back also. It's a nice rigid piece. It's not going anywhere at all. I'm scribing the right hand carcass now. As you can see, I'm just cutting the lip that wraps around the chimney. There's a little L-shaped cutout to do, and Sean is on lower trims at the moment, and I'm helping him also. I'm juggling basically trims with him or fixing them as he's cutting them. So there we go. I've got that right hand ledge in place. I just had to scribe it ever so slightly more to get my gaps, and we've left a 28mm overhang of the ledge to the carcass at the bottom. So when we get our door in place, we've got about 5 or an 8mm overhang of the ledge. Same technique of this right hand top unit. When in place, we're going to screw that into the picture rails with spacers, and we're going to use L brackets. I don't know if you can see the L brackets on either side at the bottom of that upper carcass in the void. Sean is marking on the picture rails now where to cut with the multi-tool. I'm just screwing on trims here and there as he cuts them. We're cutting the cheeks or the side trims that are hitting up against the chimney at the bottom now, so it needs a little notch. Yeah, so we're losing light here now, and we only have one light bulb. The light is disappearing, being winter now, but we're getting through them. We ended up finishing at about 6 o'clock today. Side trims going in. So the side trims at the top, they finish short. They finish 5mm below the underside of the top of the carcass at the top. So we've got a 5mm lip basically. So when we put these side trims on the upper carcasses, we want a 5mm overhang of these add-on trims, shall we say, because they're going to get glued to the front. So just so we don't have a joint detail, you don't see a joint basically. You can see on the left-hand side there's a prime example. You can just about see the side trims short of the underside of the tops to give us that lip effect on the top. Yeah, so I generally do everything and anything. Sean always does the scribing. It's just the way it works. I'm pretty quick at just getting little jobs done, like hanging doors by myself, fitting the trims, scribing as well, just doing odds and sods. I've been doing this 20 odd years now, so I'm pretty nippy at getting those little jobs done, whereas Sean is really good at cutting trim, so it's a good partnership. I do a little bit of marking out also, like widths of trims. If he's on a certain cut or for example, I haven't got anything to do, then I will jump on measuring a trim up for him or something. When he's finished the trim, he'll pass it to me. I'll get it screwed on or glued, anything. So Sean is just doing a few little niggly cuts at the top. He's trying them in and out, making sure they fit nice and tight. Remember, we are siliconing this, so we don't need to be stupidly accurate, as in so tight you need to smash it with a hammer. A mil gap. We always allow a 1 to 2 mil tolerance, so we don't have to knock them in tight. Handles have gone on, as you can see, and all that we have left to really do is the upper trims to get glued on. We are using a 2-part glue to glue all these trims onto the front face. Doors have been adjusted. At this point, I'm probably just packing a couple of tools away, neatening things up. As Sean is doing that, I'm just getting ready because it's probably about 5 o'clock at this stage. Possibly a little bit earlier. I feel sorry for Sean on this one because it was pouring down when he was loading up the van and while I was doing all the snagging bits. Sorry, tongue twister there. So like I said before, the silicone hides any discrepancies. These walls were quite wonky, so we didn't want to get them too tight and waste our time because we knew the silicone was going on. So we're nearly at the end now. It's just I'm gluing on that last top trim, or on the right hand side, the left hand left to do. Sean's going around with a hoover. There was a lot of dust on this job just because it was such a small site. It was raining, couldn't really have the windows open because the rain was coming through. We polish up with multi-surface cleaner after we've hoovered and make sure we do a good job. We check doors, we check any touch-ups that might need to be done. Actually, I didn't do one single touch-up on this. Quite impressed that we didn't have one single mark to do. So I was quite impressed on that. So we're getting to the end of the job. We were both pretty knackered at this stage. It did go on. We didn't really sit down for long on this job. We ended up finished close to 6:30. Just the last little hoover I'm doing here. Customers just nearby, she's pretty happy with it so far. Sean's loading up the van. It's pitch black outside, and this is where I just start siliconing and just getting the bits, these last little touch-ups to do it done. Silicone basically is the last thing to do. So we are nearly there. Just a little hoover off the floor, speak to the customer, make sure she's happy. She goes over a few bits and pieces to check, and job's a good one. There you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's been a long one. You guys in the comments say that you like these types of videos more than any others. So yeah, leave a comment. So what do you think, guys? The light was disappearing on us, so the quality wasn't there right at the end, which I'm a bit disappointed about. We didn't bring our site kit because our tools were just overtaking the van. We didn't have a lot of space. We didn't have space to bring them into the flat either, a whole box full of site lights. Yeah, what do you think? I think it came out quite well. There was a lot to do. I believe there was 14 trims and ledges to scribe today. There's a lot of scribing to do, especially when the walls were wonky donkey. Plus we had 3 sockets to cut around. Yeah, there was a lot to do. Oh, and cutting 4 picture rails. I don't think we did too badly. We were meant to have these units pre-assembled before we came, so all we had to do is put them in place, but we didn't have time to assemble them in the workshop before we left. But yeah, that's another video. Hope you enjoyed. I will see you next Sunday, hopefully. Same time, same place. Take it easy. Ciao for now.